Hi friends, in today's tutorial we are going to be making the Toasty and Twisted Ear Warmer. Now this is a pattern I've actually had up on my YouTube channel for about a year now, but I wanted to remake it so that I could add in all of the sizes available. So this pattern comes in 10 sizes ranging from newborn to adult large. You can easily adjust the size of this pattern by either chaining more or less for a longer or shorter band, or you can work more or less rows to make it wider or more narrower. This band is double thick, so what we're going to be doing is working a large rectangle and then you fold it in half, so just keep that in mind if you want to adjust the size at all. And this also uses a light 3-weight yarn, but I have tried it with a medium weight yarn, so this is with Lion Brand Wool Ease yarn. And all I did is go down a hook size to reach my proper gauge, and it actually turned out really well. So it made it extra thick and it made it a little bit wider. So if you want to try this with a medium weight yarn, I would just check the gauge on the size chart pattern, or sorry, the size chart that I will be putting up in a second. Just double check your gauge to make sure that you can get that so that you get the proper sizing. And then yeah, if you want to try medium weight yarn, you definitely can, or you can follow the original pattern with the lightweight yarn. And yeah, I'm going to put the size chart up now. So just take note of what size you're going to want to make today. And you'll see that it has how many chains you're going to have to make, how many stitches are going to be in each row, and then how many rows you're going to have to make to get the desired width. Now feel free to change these numbers however you see fit. This pattern, it doesn't matter if you work in even or odd number of stitches or rows. You can really change it however you want. So if you guys are ready, let's head over to our supply list and let's get making. For today's tutorial, you will need a light 3-weight yarn, a 5.5 millimeter or eye hook, a yarn needle, and scissors. You can also substitute the light 3-weight yarn with a medium 4-weight yarn that's on the lighter side, such as Lion Brand Yarn's Wool Ease. Just be sure before you do so, you check that gauge pattern that I put up with the sizing chart to make sure that you can get your proper sizing. You may need to go down a hook size or two if you are using the thicker yarn, but just double check before you make your ear warmer to make sure that it's going to come out the proper size. We're going to start off by making a chain, and this is going to be the length of our ear warmer. So check back at the sizing chart at the beginning to know how many chains you need to make for your size. I'm going to be doing the adult small, so I need to chain 70. So we're going to start with a slip knot. And then you're going to work your chains. Okay, so I'm done making my chains. So now for row 1, we are going to work 1 single crochet into the second chain from our hook. So this would be the first chain right there, and then this would be our second. So just 1 single crochet into that second chain from the hook, and then we are just going to work 1 single crochet into each chain across. So I'm just coming up to the end of row 1. So at the end of row 1, you should have you should have one less stitch than you had chains. So I had chained 70, so now I have 69 single crochets all the way across. And now my stitch count is going to remain that for the rest of the pattern. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. And for row 2, and all the way to our last row, we are just going to be working 1 single crochet into each stitch across, chain 1 and turn, and then repeat for the next row. So you're gonna look back at that sizing chart and see how many rows you have to work. So since I'm doing one of the adult sizes, I'm gonna work a total of 40 rows. So those are all just gonna be single crochets in each stitch across. When you reach the end of the row, you chain 1 and turn, and then repeat. So we're pretty much just making a big rectangle, and then we're going to fold that in half. So all these rows are going to make up the width of our ear warmer, but we're going to fold it in half, so it's going to end up being half of the size of the total piece that we make. So if you want, you can adjust the width of the ear warmer just by making more or less rows. Just keep in mind that we are going to be folding it in half, so it's going to be half the size of the total piece. So feel free to adjust it if you would like. So I'm just going to continue on. So I'm now on to row 2, and I'm just going to single crochet into each stitch across, chain 1 and turn, and then I'm going to repeat for row 3 and repeat that all the way to the end of row 40. And just check back at the chart at the beginning if you're going to be making one of the other sizes to see how many rows you need to work. Or feel free to adjust it and make more or less rows to get a wider or more narrow ear warmer. And yeah, so I'm just going to continue on, and I'm going to catch up with you guys when I reach the end of my last row, and then I will show you how we're going to finish up our ear warmer. So I just finished working my last row, so I worked a total of 40 rows, so feel free to do more if you want your headband to be any wider. But I'm going to move on, so I'm now going to fold this in half. So I'm going to fold it so it's bringing the two long sides together. So this is what the width of our ear warmer is going to be now. And then I'm going to chain 1 and then turn this over. So now that we are working from right to left and that where my hook is still attached, it's on the front here. And we're just going to slip stitch these two long ends together. So we're going to work into the last row we worked as well as the chain that we worked at the beginning. So working into the first stitch and then also into our foundation chain. I'm just going to slip stitch all the way across. Okay, so I just reached the end, so I just slip stitch all the way across. And now we're going to tie off our yarn, and you're going to want to leave enough that we're able to sew our ends together. So I'm going to leave about 12 inches. And I'm just going to pull that through, pull that tight. Then I'm going to grab my yarn needle. And so what we're going to do is we're going to twist our band. So all I'm going to do is just do one twist like this, just like that, and then we're going to bring our ends together. So make sure you maintain your twist there, and then we're just going to use a whip stitch, and we're going to stitch our ends together. grab my yarn needle. I'm going to bring these ends together. So there's going to be 4 pieces to work into. So I'm just going to be working on the edges of them. And I'm going to work through all 4 pieces and just try and hold them as straight as you can. And just working right into the edges. So right on the sides of the stitches. So for a whip stitch, we're just going to go through the front to the back, and then just repeat that. So you're just going to keep working from the front to the back, all the way across. Just trying to work into the sides of stitches, and working into all 4 pieces together. Okay, when you reach the end, we're just going to secure this with a few knots. And then weave in any ends that you have. I'm going to flip this inside out after, so I'm going to weave my ends on this side. Okay, now that all of my ends are weaved in, I'm just going to flip this inside out so that seam is now on the inside. And then at this point, we're all done, and you can kind of work your ear warmer around to get it how you want, get the twist at the front how you want it. Now, if you want, you can grab some of your yarn and just tack a few spots to make sure that stays in place like that, or you can just leave it as it is, and just when you're wearing it you can fix it up to be how you want it. But if you want it to stay exactly how it is like this, you can just tack it in a few spots to make sure that it stays in place. Otherwise, you are done. Thank you so much for following along. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and be sure to tag me in your photos so I can see your finished creations. You can find this pattern and many more free patterns on my blog whoshomemade.com. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.